It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of three is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hey, hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Well, as you all know, we're on a pre-recorded night. Chris and I will be out of town or are out of town as of right now at that time.
Yep.
We're going to Illinois for a Pura Unity conference, and we're excited about it. We're hoping to meet some new people and have a great time.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. Woohoo. This is weird
She's
not
so
reading
excited.
comments. I'm just saying, usually now is the time that we say hi to everybody, but there's nobody in there to say hi to. So,
Well, we say hi to you now. If you're in there, we love you. Hi.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate y'all tuning
Well, let's
into
just get
this. Is our
started
first
by
recording. Let's do
yeah.
it.
So it's just gonna be a little yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, I have I'm not sitting solo tonight. We have Kathy with the Ray County Museum. She's a curator. And then we have our friend Erin here, who she's got some stories to tell what made her a believer in not only the paranormal, but also about the Ray County Museum. So looking forward to this.
Exactly. I'm excited to hear about it. Really.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that, of course, I'm going to give a shout out to all the people on our platform and channels. On Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Central, we have Texas Front Porch. You can catch me with Tex every Monday. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, we have Van Buren Variety. 8 p.m. Central, we have Beyond BMR. On Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, we have Jason McLean's Questions Everything. You need to turn into that. That's a really good one. On Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, you can catch Krista with BMR with Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. On Thursday night, Blondes and Booze at 8 p.m. Central. And on Friday, it's Blondes, Booze, and the Woo at 8 p.m. Central.
Yep. Absolutely. Before we get going too, let's talk about our events that we have coming up. And
Oh, yeah.
some of them do include the Ray County Museum. So I'll just announce the dates and what they are for the museum. On May 20th, our paranormal team, Haunted Soul Society, is holding an overnight. Tickets are on sale. They are available now for that event. You can go to Eventbrite under Ray County Museum and you can buy tickets there. If you are unable to make it that night, then you can come with Blondes and Booze and a different paranormal team that's called Haunted Souls. They're out of St. Louis also. And with the Z. And we're going to be doing an overnight with them. And that is August 12th. And tickets are not on sale for that one yet, but they will be shortly. So then we also have, let me throw a picture up here. Let me find it. We have an event coming up here at Malvern Manor in July. Josh Hurd, who owns the building, he's going to stay and investigate with us. And then Tex with Texas Front Porch is coming up. And then our friend Terry Mosby is going to come and hunt with everybody too. So that'll be a fun event. And tickets will be on sale next month for that event. So yes. Anyway, that's some of the public events that we have going on. And then we also have Potographs for Pooches. We will be at in March 4th, and that's up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And that's a good cause. It's for animal shelters, raising money. And Tim has raised, over $100,000 so far.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
For that.
Yes.
And then, and John Zaffis is going to be at that one. So that one I'm pretty excited about. And then what is it, Brandy? In July, we have the Bigfoot Conference in Gatlinburg. And I don't know, there's a few others. I don't remember them all. Yeah. So anyway, you guys can come and see us. And if you guys have any questions about any of these events, you can email us at blondesandbooze@gmail.com or message us on our Facebook page and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into the Ray County Museum.
Yeah, one of my favorite places.
It is. And I've told lots of people that it's one of my favorite places to ghost hunt. And it's probably, I've been there more than most places. I have, to ghost hunt. Not only to ghost hunt, because, Kathy and Aaron are both personal friends. So it's, we just go up there sometimes, not even to ghost hunt and just to hang out.
Clean.
So clean.
Yeah. I'm racking them up myself.
Remember that one with the ghost helping us clean?
Yeah. So we'll jump right into it. I'm going to let Kathy tell a little bit about the museum, and then we'll just jump right into the ghost.
Okay.
Well, Ray County Museum is located in Richmond, Missouri, which is about 50 miles east of Kansas City. And we call it a small rural museum that's very large. It is a 14,000 plus square foot building, and it has 3 floors, built as a poor farm in 1909 and ran as a poor farm and then a nursing home until about 1970. After that, it started to become the museum slowly. The county took it back. And so it's been a museum since really 1973 is when they officially opened it up and everything. And it's an amazing place. I just don't even quite know how to describe it. It's built on a Y. It's on the National Historic Register, and it was built as a poor farm for indigents of any problems to come there and to live. And the shape of it is interesting. Like I said, it's on a Y, and it makes it a little bit confusing at night when it's dark to walk around.
Unless you've been there a gazillion times and know it.
You have to have
Right.
Yeah, but each of the rooms is themed.
Mm-hmm.
There's 54 rooms originally, and there's about 35 different areas and galleries that you can go into. And they are themed. They have different, World War I, World War II, the war rooms of various things, and Grandma's kitchen. And each one of them are filled with the artifacts that the people in this county have donated. Mm-hmm. This is strictly done by amateur people, but they're people who love their county history and they want to preserve their rural heritage and their history. And it's an amazing place, even besides all the other activity that goes on. It's a pretty amazing place.
I'm actually looking here. I'm going to put up a picture of the museum here, and it doesn't really do it justice. It's just the front of it. But that is the front of it. And believe it or not, it is in a Y shaped, as Kathy said. You really can't tell much from this picture, but it's an awesome place. It
is awesome.
This picture makes it look small, but it is not. Not by any means.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So it's a huge.
It is a lot bigger than that.
Yeah. But that is the museum. So we let's talk ghost.
Well, with all the fact that it was a poor farm, ran as such for many years, there's been a significant number of pretty unhappy people. For a lot of people, it was the last place they were ever going to live. And so there's all that sort of emotion that kind of comes into that. And that wasn't always the case, but that was a lot of the case. And then there were a lot of people who passed away in there. And there's even the pauper cemetery, the county cemetery is out back behind. And so, I mean, it has that energy right alone going on. There's that. And then you add all of these different artifacts within that building, and it can really amp up in there.
And it does.
It can be very quiet. but it can really get going.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, it's
Yeah, it's
Well,
a
Kathy, how
there.
many, I mean, out of all the rooms, now you said you have different rooms in there, like Civil War and then Black History and all kinds of different things.
all of
What,
these rooms.
what exhibit do you think has the most activity for you?
I have to pick one.
Yeah, you have to pick one. That was the question. One.
Probably the upstairs.
That's just
hall.
one.
Yeah.
The hallway.
The hallway?
that goes along, yeah, it's a hallway that goes down to the band room in the
Yeah.
one-room schoolhouse. And there's just something in that entire hallway, and it kind of cruises that side of the building. I'd say that's the west side of the building.
Yeah.
Kind of sits at a little bit of an angle,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that hallway that's pretty
Yeah.
intense. But that is by no means the
only place.
No.
only place.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would say that would be my top one, but that is not the only one. Yeah, that would be it.
Not
Yeah.
at all. So,
Yeah.
but that's the one where I get the most.
And a lot of people, yeah, like Kathy just said, the creep factor. A lot of people get the EBGBs in that hallway, especially down towards the end of it. And
And even non-believers.
yeah,
Well,
get
And
the
even non-believers become believers real quick in that place. All you have to do is just sit down, be quiet, and just keep your eyes open.
yeah,
That's all you
I
got to
know a lot
do.
of people that come in there to tour, and they're there for the history. They're not interested in the ghosts. They're not there for that. They perhaps think it might be haunted, but that isn't why they're there. And they don't even think about it, a lot of them, and they'll walk through and they go, "Oh man, what's with that hallway up there? Is this place like have ghosts in it?" And and they point out all the same sort of places, but I'd have to say, honestly, there's very few places that haven't had some sort of activity at some point.
yeah. Honestly, I really can't think of a room that really, I mean, some rooms are more than others, but I mean, any place, any room you go in that building, there's something.
I think it depends on who's walking in that room.
Yeah, I do
Somebody
too.
wants to reach out to them,
Yeah, because
Well,
I
that brings
believe.
me to my next question. Since you have all these things in the museum, how do you acquire all of these artifacts?
By and large, 98% of them are donated. They're actually donated.
Now, you
So
had
some of them
had
are
said once,
some of them are large. Pardon me?
I said you had said before when I've talked to you on another occasion that the people from the county are the ones that are giving you these artifacts.
Yeah. We have a couple right now that is we're talking to that wants to donate an 1870s square piano, which a square piano
Wow.
is built as such to fit into a wagon easily, be easily transported. Now, we already have one of these, but it's in non-working condition. And it also came from an old place in Richmond that's no longer there. It was called the Woodson Institute. It was a school. But that one's a non-working. This one that we've been offered comes from one of the old hotels there. That's a pretty famous hotel to the county. And it's in perfect mint working order. This would be a high dollar piano somewhere to buy it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. And so the people in this county really think about their history. They say, this is important. I don't want to sell this. This needs to stay here. And that's what has built that whole museum. And it's got a lot of love and
Yeah.
Well,
So
I know the answer. I know the answer to this question because I've experienced it. But do you think that some of these donated artifacts have attachments?
oh yes. Oh, undoubtedly. Yeah.
There's a puzzle
I had to
there
pick-
also. There's a puzzle
Yeah,
there that was donated to her by a friend, another paranormal investigator, and supposedly nobody's been able to put this puzzle together. And what's the story on that? Do you remember what Anthony Bublé told us? The story on that
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
was owned by an elderly lady or something.
I think so.
Yeah, and all the puzzle pieces are there, but nobody can put it together.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I've
And
had
for
a couple
some,
of people to try to put it together, and they're like,
Wow, that's,
he's out, and they're like,
I'm gonna
"Oh, I
have to
don't
look at that the next time I'm there,
yeah,
because that's
yeah,
strange. That is
yeah,
strange,
it
definitely.
is. It is. It's crazy, but that's just minimal. I mean, there's so many items in that place that you can't even begin to tell how many of them that actually do have attachments, and then on top of that, you have the
Right.
resident ghost. So that place,
and all that energy,
yeah,
all that energy from those people that have been there and all that have gone through there. I mean, there's a lot of like residual things that
oh yeah,
happen there,
for sure.
with
Well,
cracking.
not only that, you also have Native American artifacts that are in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I mean, that brings a whole different vibe to the place,
And a mastodon bone.
Yeah,
My personal
mastodon
favorite.
bone,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
huge, big old
Dinosaur
bone.
bones, Indian artifacts. I mean, it just
Yeah.
sounds like it's brewing for like ghost activity.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And we can get into it too, because we can talk about the story about Goldie, how she ended up being there, because I know that has to do with what made you a believer. And so we can talk about that, but it's even got an artifact and of an ore, and we'll tell more of that story that was used in that story, So I mean, there's just things that go way back. What is that case you have? It's like 1700 and something.
There's it's like a hope chest. It's a chest that came from England, and it was built in 1710. So it was very carefully brought to the location, by people that had been handed down to it in their family, and then it was donated to the museum.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful too.
Yeah,
It is beautiful. I've seen it. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah,
things there go with
yeah. Go ahead, Brandy.
I was going to say, well, let's hear about Goldie. I'm excited about this story.
So we'll let Kathy tell it, and then let Erin tell
Her side.
Yeah, you tell the original.
Okay, so this is known around the county as the Winter Nelson murder. So in 1896, coal mining was big. There was a man who was a coal miner, and his name was Jesse Winter. He lived in a little shack, literally, a little shack that was next to the original pork farm, which was north and east of town. And he was married and had 2 children and then an older stepdaughter. Mm-hmm. So one night, people heard some screams, and they didn't think a whole lot of it. But the next morning, this farmer drove by the farm and saw a body in the pig pen, and raised an alarm. Okay, mm-hmm. So he went in there, and it was the mother, and she had been brutally murdered with an axe, just cleaved, and it was a real. Yeah, it was.
It gets worse.
It was really horrific. Yeah. It was horrific, and so then he went in and found her 2 children in there with their children.
No.
Yeah,
toddlers.
Yeah,
toddlers,
a
babies.
3-year-old and a
Oh.
year. Oh yeah, but
Okay.
one thing that was even worse than that was there was the older daughter witnessed it and survived, but she was in hiding. She was also deaf mute, and so she could not identify her attackers. Okay, she wouldn't.
No.
Yeah. It was just horrific. And of course, when the alarm went out, people lost their minds in the county. So there was a woman there that immediately blamed 3 gentlemen. She said she had overheard them talking. And a man named Lon Lackey, who was the driver, and then Jesse Winter and James Nelson. Now, James Nelson was a friend of Jesse's. Okay, so the dad and his friend. And they were the ones who supposedly committed this murder, is what she said. So they immediately arrested these 3 men, and they put them in the county jail in Richmond. Well, the mob was right there, and not going to be made happy unless they got a hold of these guys. And so they had harassed them for a while, and they decided to put them in another jail, take them out of town, across the river, the Missouri River, to a town called Lexington. It was about 10 miles away, and put them over there. Well, there were no bridges there at the river. It was a ford, they had a ferry that ran across, and they weren't going to have it. These people were not going to have it. So they estimated about 250 people gathered their boats, and they went across the river, and they went to that jailer, and they strong armed him. He put up a fight. He wasn't gonna give him the keys, but they got the keys from him, and they took the two gentlemen, because the third one was not taken there. I'm not sure why. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but only two of them were taken. I think it's because they were the ones that committed it. They rode them straight back across the river, and closest tree, they hung him. They hung him.
Oh,
So one of the things about this murder, though, is that there are photographs of all of them. And so they had taken photographs of the murder scenes and then of the men hanging. And these were commercial photographers that did this, and they sold them. Now, people are horrified by this. Our modern sensibilities cannot deal with something like that, because we just don't think in that terms.
Yeah.
But what their aim was it was a fundraiser to help this little girl who's left behind, because now she's a true orphan. She has nobody in the world. They don't even know who her real dad is.
And can't communicate.
And she cannot communicate. So here's this poor little waif, and she had been put in with a family that she lived with for a year. And so the money from this helped fund her there, and then they sent her to Fulton School for the Deaf until she came back to the poor farm up north for about a year, and then down to the new one when they opened it. She lived her entire life at the poor farm.
And that was Goldie.
And that was Goldie. She lived her entire life there. And she was 51 when she died in 1940. And she died of heart issues. And she had been an assistant cook and things. And that was her home. And it was said that there were times that she would go into hiding in places, and she would hide.
And Goldie is still there she's never left the museum. She is still there.
And we have one set of the oars from one of the boats that they rowed across the river and back.
Yeah.
So that was
wow.
Yeah. So, which entails of how Erin became a believer. I'm going to let her tell her part. So back up on this. At the time, we didn't know anything about this.
No.
We knew nothing about this murder. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so this was pre Goldie. You didn't know anything about her or the history about Goldie.
We knew there was someone named Goldie there from the previous caretaker, because she talked a lot about her, but we didn't know the story of Goldie.
No, not the entire
story. What we're going to tell you next is pretty amazing, and it's a lot of woo to it, and a lot of woo.
That's what we're here for.
And as a lot of you have known, we the blondes and these two ladies also know our friend who wants to remain anonymous, and we call him Anthony Bublé. And so Erin's going to tell her story of what happened and how we found out all this information about these murders.
So are you wanting me to tell of the cleansing, the cleaning?
Yeah, do it all from how we started to finish.
So this just tells you how much I knew about the paranormal world. Kathy had said that they was going to be doing a cleansing, and I said, okay, I'll come help, blah, blah, blah. I get there. I've got all my cleaning supplies.
She doesn't mean sage.
No,
Lysol,
I have Lysol,
scrub
mop
brushes.
buckets, gloves. I mean, I was ready
She
to
was
clean.
ready. We're cleaning this
We're
apart.
going to clean it one way or another. It's getting cleaned.
Yeah. So
I'm just dying.
we had a good laugh out of that. But
We did.
again, I was a non-believer. And so our friend Anthony, we, went around the museum, and I actually got some paper and a notebook and was writing things down, because at this point I wanted to prove everybody wrong that this,
She was a total.
total.
We were freak. We were her
Yeah.
freaky friends.
Yeah.
We were the
Yeah,
weird
she wanted
ones.
nothing to do with it.
So Erin, you were a total skeptic.
Absolutely.
Okay,
didn't
walking into this, you were just said, nope, this is not happening. I'm going to prove y'all wrong right here.
Yeah. My aunt,
All
who a lot of people know as AB, she is a believer and very much into the paranormal world. And we are both Civil War reenactors. So when we would go to events, we were hotel people. We didn't stay in camp. She'd want to watch some of the ghost shows at night. And I'm like, no, you're full of crap. We're not watching that. It's a bunch of hooey. So now, after our cleaning, Anthony had was getting some really strong readings, and he was talking about a murder and two men, and I'm writing everything down, and I can't remember. Did he get names?
He did get
even?
names. He did get names because we're Kathy's like, I don't know anything about that. We're like, news to us,
So I just wrote stuff down as we were going through, room to room to room and everything. And then towards, it was the end, he felt that we needed to go out back to the smokehouse, that there was something that wasn't nice in the smokehouse. And it's basically kind of an old storage where a lot of basically crap that's no longer,
It's the only other original building
Yeah.
to the poor farm.
yeah. So
So it's
we
an
go
old
out
building.
there, and what was there, 5 of us out there?
Let's see, there was us three.
Mark
There was Anthony,
And his-
Mark,
and
his
my cousin
and-
Rob.
and-
My cousin Rob.
Was Anthony's
Rob was there.
wife there?
No,
Or
Anthony's son.
Son. Okay.
Was there. So
So
I don't know how many that was. A bunch of them.
you could feel,
mm,
and even as a non-believer, there was a huge just heaviness in the air out there. Something just wasn't right. And
Right.
if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have told y'all you was full of crap.
Yeah.
But I actually saw him when he was getting. I still don't know the ins and outs, so I don't know how to explain it all. But like when he was getting
his messages.
He came up off the ground,
Literally.
literally off of the
Levitated.
ground.
And
And-
I actually back up
Because
just
he
a
had the
second.
thumbs up and the thumbs down.
Okay, so this guy that we're talking about, Kathy and I, she's the one that I've mentioned before that we do the demonic type cases together with this guy. So when we do these negative cases, we all kind of have our role, and my role was always to watch Anthony Bublé's back. So he always would have a thumbs up. It's always up. And everything was okay. So I always watch his thumb. If it goes down, that's when I need to intervene. Well, at that time, his thumb went down as he was levitating, and I literally pulled him back. And he was being thrown. I don't remember by
It was
which
a mad
one.
scramble. It was
Yeah.
James
Yeah.
Nelson.
It was James Nelson that was in the smokehouse that was trying to throw our friend Anthony, like toss him across the
Yeah.
room. And we all witnessed it. He was levitated, and I grabbed him back on the ground.
Scared the crap out of me.
For this non-believer skeptic.
Yeah. I
Right.
didn't
So,
know
I
how
mean,
to explain it.
being actually levitated, how many seconds do you think that he was just up off the ground?
I mean,
I know it seems
was
like
quick
forever
because
when you're
It
there.
wasn't too long.
It wasn't long because literally
No,
it was
it was
so
seconds.
It
fast.
started to
Yeah.
just kind of go up, and that was like, holy,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah. So in the meantime, talk about a skeptic getting thrown right into it. That was her first encounter with paranormal, and
Well, isn't that
people with
enough?
abilities and things like that. So I'll let her finish telling the story though.
So that's when, after all that, and I went home, I started researching all my notes and everything. And that's when I found the information about Goldie and her family online. And, it's really weird reading the articles from back then,
Uh-huh.
how gruesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, very descriptive.
Yeah,
of
they're more like fluff pieces now. It's just like
Yeah.
they won't even
I
tell you
lived with a
anything.
lot
But
of
back then,
yeah,
Yeah, people
Yeah.
lived with a lot of death. It was a daily experience for
Yeah.
people, and people
Mhm.
still had funerals in their homes, and none of that was uncommon. We're
Right.
pretty removed from death
Yeah.
now, and
Mhm.
so we protected people a lot more. And back
Mhm.
then, they didn't have that. It's
No.
like, well, this is the way it is,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Descriptions of the hogs eating
Yes.
on the bodies.
The old
um,
newspaper articles
And the
are-
newspaper articles, and the showing the men hanging in the tree.
Yeah.
And then also another picture of the mother and the two babies laying out basically on
Awful.
a slab.
and then some of the.
Oh.
It's heart wrenching.
Well, and
Um,
what's really sad is Goldie's standing there in the background looking at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
think
really
we
sad.
saw that she hid in a rain barrel.
Yeah.
Well,
that-
I have heard that. That's anecdotal. I've
Okay.
never read that.
Okay.
But she did hide. She
By the way,
was in
Kathy
hiding.
says big words, anecdotal, big words. I've given her trouble for
I
many
got
years.
you. I
about
understand,
her big
Kathy.
words.
I have to use it.
stories.
Dictionary.com helps me a lot.
All stories.
We're following you, babe. Just keep going.
All good. It's all good. I've never
So,
read it.
do you think out of all these experiences that are happening in that particular one, Erin, do you think that Goldie's spirit may have been haunted after all of that and she brought it with her?
Either that or it could have been Linda.
Yeah. You want to
Yeah.
tell about Linda, the previous curator
Yeah.
at the museum?
There you go.
Linda was really an amazing woman. She was born and raised and had very deep roots in Ray County. And she loved that county like no other.
She loved the museum.
She loved the
Yeah.
museum. She was
Loved
all
history.
about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
she got very ill, and unfortunately, she passed away. And she passed away in the museum, so the very place that she would have wanted to go.
Mhm.
But she grew up there, and her family had a farm up north and east of town, not far from the original Poor Farm. And so there was a family member that she used to go play on their farm all the time, which was where this murder had occurred.
Yeah.
And so, she always felt, and she was a good friend of mine, and she always felt like there was something that was always getting in her way in her life. She led a good life, she had a successful life. And when she retired, she, devoted her time to the history and the genealogy of the county. But there was always something that was creating chaos wherever it could for her. And she always felt like something was there. And so, our friend Anthony, he felt like she had an attachment.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I can kind of see where that came from, really.
Yeah. So we
She
kind
talked
of
about it
believe
herself.
honestly that she's the one that brought him there
Yes.
herself. Linda did.
Possibly.
And
So
honestly,
we slipped right by something. We slipped
Yeah.
right by something, Kathy. You said Linda died in the museum?
Yes, she did.
Yes. And it was only so how Kathy
She passed away.
became the curator. Linda was a friend of hers, and actually Erin and I knew her too. When I first started going to the museum, Linda was the curator. Kathy
brought you to
yeah.
the museum. We're all Civil War reactors.
Yeah. So Kathy introduced me. She's
Yeah.
like, she knew I was into all this weird, freaky ghost stuff. And she's like, I have a friend that runs a museum.
She likes that stuff too.
Yeah. So she's like, let me bring
Okay.
you in. And so anyway, I mean, to make a long story short, how long has Linda been gone?
It'll be 5 years.
5 years.
In,
Okay.
March.
Yeah. And then it wasn't maybe within the year, I think is when you became.
Oh no, within 3 months.
Yeah.
Right after she passed. And what they were having trouble finding somebody. And because I had been good friends with her, and I'm a Civil War reenactor. I did a lot of things up there with her and for her. I volunteered a lot up there, and we did historical reenactments up there and things like that. I helped her in the museum. And so I knew a lot of the people already that were up there, the commissioners and all of these people that she interacted with on a daily basis I was familiar with. And so I'm also an amateur historian, and I stress the word amateur. I love the history of our whole country, our state, and that particular area. And the border war, I studied the Civil War. And so they felt like I would be a good choice. So they asked me, and I said, no, not going to do it. My friend died, and it was pretty traumatic, and I didn't feel like I could handle that. So they hired someone else, and that just didn't work out at all. So then I caved.
Go ahead.
Had some friends that kept bugging me about it, and they called back and said, please. And I said, okay. So I've been there almost 5 years in July.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Well, it sounds like possibly Linda was intervening, you know, from the other side. She's like, no, Kathy, you need to take this. You need to take this, Kathy.
You know how I
which
felt in the song.
Yeah.
Which, sorry about that. My dog is barking. Which leads me to something else. Kathy, I don't know if you want to briefly talk on it. There is an apartment there, and Kathy doesn't live there.
No,
at all.
Moment.
Yeah, but
you never know about the future.
You never know about the future, and several actually curators have passed there.
Yeah, the last few actually have passed there.
So Kathy keeps talking about wanting to go back to the museum and stay in the apartment, and I'm like, no,
That's
ain't
a
happening.
long story with that. It's not exactly want more need.
Yeah.
Because I actually live 50 miles away, and so I have to come to the community and stay during the week while I'm working. Because traveling back and forth is just not going to work for me, So.
Yeah.
You never know. And
right. So several curators have died within the museum.
Yes.
Now, so they lived on premises, the ones that have passed?
Yes.
Oh boy, no! I would say no. I'll stay the night, but I'm not living here. I'm sorry, I'm not bringing my toothbrush. It's not staying here.
Right.
I get it.
Exactly. So, like I said,
no way.
Yeah. So I am anti Kathy staying at the museum, and she knows this. We've talked about this, and that's why. And I think
Well,
Erin,
I don't blame you. Just by the history itself, it's just kind of like, is this place claiming people, claiming their lives, their souls, their whatever, say, hey, we like you, just, you're going to stay with us forever type of deal. And that's strange. That is very strange. That's a lot of woo.
You're going to stay with us forever.
That's a lot of woo. I'm just saying.
A lot of woo. Like I said,
that's not woo we really tell people about necessarily.
Yeah.
But
But like the events and things that's coming up, I mean, the building overall is really a cool building for history. I mean, honestly, it's not just for ghost hunting. You need to come visit it during the day and take your time. Give yourself plenty of time to go through every room, 3 floors.
It's a wonderful rural museum.
Yeah.
I mean, it just embodies how life was previous. You know, I mean, just even up to the 60s.
I mean, you say that, and I can honestly say yes, because even at nighttime when we go to hunt there or have an event or whatever, we will turn on the lights and just start looking and reading and just soaking in that history in the middle of a ghost hunt. It's kind of like, well, hang on a minute, we're going to find out about something.
Oh, this is cool.
And all of your answers are right there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much to it.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's been, I guess we can talk about experiences we've all had at the museum. And we kind of got a cool one about cleaning the museum and setting up for Christmas. Do you remember that?
Oh.
Remember that? You were sweeping right there in the main hall?
Yeah. Yes, I remember it, but I think I've blocked it out a little bit.
Basically, I have somebody I don't care to remember.
Well, it wasn't really even a scary thing. It was during the day, and it was like we were having help to clean it because you were sweeping, and it was the dustpan or something that was moved. Yeah, to Erin
Yeah.
while, so she could pick up the dust off the floor. And that was, like I said, that was just broad daylight in the afternoon, and we were just chit chatting and putting up Christmas tree,
Yep,
working
put up a
on
Christmas tree.
Yep. And we're
Somebody-
like,
Somebody
oh,
wanted to help.
somebody wanted to
Yeah.
help. We're like, thank you.
Exactly. Just push that right on over there. She'll get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Honestly-
I can understand, Aaron, that, when you're at a location and there's so much, whether you're working, cleaning, helping out, doing whatever, but some things you just kind of dismiss and don't even think about because it happens all the time. It's just kind of like, oh, well, that moved. Well, that's nothing new. So you just kind of write it off because it happens all the time. So when you say you just kind of block it out, I think it's just kind of dismissed it because it's just something normal that happens. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's fine. Now, Kathy,
wait, Erin's
tell
gonna
everybody what you do. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second, Brandy. Erin was getting ready to say something, and then we'll go to Kathy.
Go ahead, Erin.
We were getting ready for an overnight event for a group of people that was coming out, and AB and I was downstairs in the political room, down there cleaning and dusting and
This was
sweeping.
not very long ago.
And it was just this was just what, August, September.
It was when the Tennessee Race Chasers were coming.
And
Okay.
We were the only two down in the basement, and you've been in the basement. I mean, it's a big old basement.
Yeah.
And you know if somebody else is down there because you can hear. And just around the corner, I heard somebody coming around, and Aunt Betty was saying something. I was like, shh. She's like, what? And I was like, and I heard the footsteps coming straight toward the political room, but there was nobody there. So
yeah, and I've heard that several times, all over the building.
That's another good thing about Goldie.
What's that?
When the Wraith Chasers was there with Goldie, there was a gentleman in the group that was there who was actually deaf. And one of the members of the hosting unit, his parents, I believe, were deaf, so he knew sign language. And we were up in the Indian artifact room doing an investigation, and I can't remember what his name was. I want to say it was Noah, but I don't think that's correct. But anyway, he was signing. And I mean, people throughout the room have equipment, K2s, millimeters, REM pods. And he starts signing, and all of this equipment starts going off. And then he starts asking more questions and more questions and more questions. And then he asked if it was a girl and asked if she was deaf. And then it dawned on me, because my AB and I were the only two up there that knew about Goldie's story. And after he asked if they were deaf, and I mean, all the equipment's going off. And I said, is this Goldie? And then everything's going off. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Oh,
It was one of the highlights of my paranormal experiences, seeing that and witnessing that.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have got to me. I'd have probably been very emotional. I mean, just emotional because, knowing the story of Goldie, I probably would have been emotional because I'm like, finally, she's communicating with somebody.
Absolutely.
Well, we've heard for years that she was there, and I myself have never heard anybody say they actually saw her or communicated with her. And so, the story of, oh yeah, Goldie's here. It's like, well, I've never seen evidence of that. Never. And all of the sessions, the people have given different names and things like that. None of them have been Goldie.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, that's maybe one of those good ghost stories that always got passed around, Well, apparently not. We weren't talking her language.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, if we heard footsteps, well, we don't know who's actually making the footsteps. Some could have been her, but we were not having any verbal communication. So she was probably trying to tell us some other way. But then when this gentleman came in who was also deaf and started signing for her, it just opened up a whole new avenue for her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I get to talk.
Yeah. The museum, I mean, honestly, if anybody wants to come visit it just for the historical purpose or even ghost hunting, it doesn't disappoint either way. You know, as far as the ghost hunting, you know, things get moved. People have seen full-bodied apparitions. People have been touched. We've heard voices with our ears, sneezing, all kinds
Things
of
drop.
footsteps. Yeah, things just drop, but then lights. I mean, just about anything that you can imagine happens in the paranormal, it has happened at the museum, and it just, the place doesn't disappoint at
it
all,
doesn't. Not at all.
at all. Kathy,
Right.
do you-
And, you know, plus, how many museums can you go to? Now, I'm just saying that when you do a ghost hunt there, that the curator is on location with you. So if you have any questions, or you can do, you know, you find something or whatever, you're right there to answer that.
yeah,
Most places you don't get that. You'll get their assistant or somebody else. You don't get the curator.
yeah, and that's, if you know, Kathy does you know, take reservations, and people can contact her. Can you tell them how they can contact you if a team would like to come in and reserve a night?
We do have an email address that's extremely long. The Ray County Historical Society at yahoo.com. And then we have a website with our phone number, and I can give the phone number too. We're in Ray County. They just call the phone and leave a message, or send me an email. We also have a Facebook page that you can message me on, and we can kind of talk about that, because we do private investigations. And one thing that people really have to understand, and here's my pitch. This is my pitch, people. All right, you keep us alive. You help us to cover the costs of day-to-day running. You keep me employed. And it's a part-time job, just so you know. But you help to keep this place open for everyone. You know, and let's face it, history is not the most popular thing right now, and it's under attack. Things are happening with the history, you know. You have to be the ones to teach it. It's not being taught in schools.
No.
And the best teacher is you. You know, it is you. Teach your children, teach your friends, talk to people, go to places, not just our museum, but go to other museums and go to other historic sites. And they're fun to investigate, a lot of those, but you're also doing a huge, huge, huge favor by keeping history alive and keeping it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, it's just, you won't be disappointed at all. And if you can't get a hold of Kathy, if you didn't catch any of that, you're more than welcome to contact Blondes and Booze too. You know, like I said, they're personal friends of ours, so we can always pass on the message also. You know,
Well, and then the first time I ever had to look it up, I Googled it. You can Google it. The phone number and everything's on there. Google Ray County Museum. So that is in Missouri, everybody. Ray County Museum in Missouri. And it came right up for me. I didn't have any issues.
Richmond, Missouri.
Yeah. And it's over near, it's north of, a little north, what I guess it would be northeast of Kansas City.
Yeah, just it's actually right on the Missouri River. It's just on the north side of the river, not the south side.
Yeah.
And it's east of Kansas City. So it's probably 10 miles, well, maybe 20 miles north of I-70.
Yeah.
On 13.
Right. And it's beautiful, beautiful country out there.
Yeah.
So
and the country is beautiful out there anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A lot of history out there.
yeah, and it's super steeped. Yeah, super steeped in history. Yeah, can you real quick tell us what do you do when you have groups coming into Ghost Hunt? Can you tell me your little ritual you go through?
Oh, before they come?
Yes.
Before they come? Well, we just have a little discussion. The ghost and I, and we have a talk. That's what we do. And I tell them, you know, here we go, guys. You know, we're having another ghost hunt. These people will all be very friendly. You know, I kind of pump that all up and tell them they will be respectful, that there's, you know, not going to be any funny business or taunting or any of that kind of mess. And
Yeah.
and let's put on a good show for everybody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's raise
Right.
some money.
Right.
Let's
Right.
raise some money, guys. Let's have fun.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I've even, with Kathy, we've spent the night there too. And we slept in the chapel. And, honestly, the spirits.
Funerals, think funerals.
Yeah. Yeah. They do funerals
They
there.
did-
They did
they did
funerals.
them.
But it's real. It's not like the ghosts are bad or anything like that. Because
No.
when it was time to go to bed, like I didn't hear nothing. That place was quiet. It's like they respect that. They seen we were sleeping. And I just want to reiterate too, when we told you the story about Goldie and how she came there, the negative that was out and back of the smokehouse,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is gone. It
It's
has
gone.
been removed.
It's
So
gone.
if anybody, we don't want to freak anybody out that,
Oh no.
it's all,
There's no demons there. There's
No.
no demons and all that kind of mess. People aren't going to come out
Right.
bloody from scratches and stuff like that.
no, not at all.
No,
so
but it is a place you can interact.
yes.
You know?
And
Yes.
and they're very willing to interact
Yeah.
with you. I mean, it's just,
Right.
you can go to in any of the hallways, the rooms, and there's something's going to happen,
Right.
Make me a
Okay.
believer.
Well, we're at past the 51-minute mark. So,
Yeah.
Christy, you want to wind it up for us?
Yep. You guys, like I said, I'll post the dates that we're going to have the events on our Facebook, and whether you want to go with Haunted Souls or with the Blondes and Booze and the other Haunted Souls with the Z.
Hey, Blondes and Booze is going to be at all of them. So just
Yep.
pick one.
Yep, exactly. Pick one. And come see us. And I'm telling you, if it's something, you'd like to see, I know Kathy had talked about, she has pictures and stuff. She'll let you see the pictures. And although they're very graphic, they're not out on display or, anything like that. But there's a lot more history. We could go on another 2 hours about the history of that place. However, we do need to cut it short. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. And we will be back next Thursday, and we'll be back to our live shows. We appreciate you all.
See y'all later.
Yep. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
See you at the museum.
Yep. Come see us at the museum. That's right.